The free market system has failed, and we need a new system. It's been said before in history, last time the market supposedly failed in the 1920s. Let's remember the Roaring Twenties first. After the Progressive Era with Woodrow Wilson, then all of a sudden happy days started again. Huge growth, major technological advances. We had refrigeration. People didn't have refrigerators in 1919. They did by 1929. Phones, cars, all commonplace items. How many people didn't have electricity until the 1920s? And when we went into the Depression, remember the song was Happy Days Are Here Again. These were the happy days. But unfortunately, with all of that success came arrogance. And that's the period that we're in right now. That's the problem. Capitalism didn't fail. Arrogance set in. And we lost our morals and our scruples and everything else. I was with my dad recently. And I just want you to realize how far we've come in the last 10 or 20 years. Apple iPad. This thing is absolutely incredible. It is just nuts. And I had forgotten about it. I've had one for, how long they've been out? 2 years? And I had one when I was with my dad, and I'm talking to him, and I pull it out, and I said, Dad, you have to look at this. And I'm showing him something, and I do this with my fingers, and I open it up, and his eyes about pop out of his head, and he said, what? Wait, what is that? My dad's almost 80. And I said, oh, look at this, it's a computer. And I started telling him, and he couldn't believe it. And I thought to myself, my gosh, I have forgotten how advanced we have gotten and how things were just a few years ago. For instance, let me show you this. This is a video that I saw today, and I want to show you this. Okay, see this video? This is how much the world has changed in 20 years. This is a video of a guy who is being mic'd up to go on television, and as they're micing him up, he's very, very nervous. And they said, look, he's almost there. And they said, yes, in a few minutes they'll hear you in New York. Right here. And he says, are you serious? Are you kidding me? They're going to see me in New York 20 years ago. Do you have any idea who this guy is? Yeah. Who is this guy? No, this is not. This is what he looked like 20 years ago. This is what he looks like today. Steve Jobs, the guy who came up with this. That's how fast the world has changed in 20 years. Why? Because of capitalism. Because of the free market system. Because of freedom. First dreamt up in 1791. The world has changed in just the last couple of decades for the better. Medical advancement, deaths from breast cancer dropped more than 2% every year since 1990. The infant mortality rate has been cut in half since 1980. We have DNA testing, invasive surgeries, LASIK, on and on and on. America is different than the rest of the world. Well, we have plenty of stuff, and that's part of our problem. Plenty of stuff. 85% of Americans 18 years and older own a cell phone. 47% have iPods or an MP3 player. This is a failed system. This is the push that happened in the 20s, and not only here. The rest of the world was a little ahead of us on that. Capitalism is dead. These advancements were all happening in the 1920s, and soon as there was trouble, everybody wanted to bail on the free market system. The New York Times heaped praises on Mussolini. Quote, Mussolini is a Latin Teddy Roosevelt who first acts and then inquires if it's legal. He's been a great service to Italy at home. Oh, has he? Has he really? Mussolini didn't care if it was state capitalism or state socialism. That's what he said in that article. It doesn't matter what you call it, state socialism, state capitalism. It's going to be run by bureaucrats. They thought that a huge government built on industry, with industry, around and on the worker was going to be the solution. But somebody else thought that too. The communists. The communists wanted National Socialism. Kara, look at this. I'll show you this. This is I think, an amazing piece of art. This is from 1936, if you can see that right here. 1936. And this is of the worker, showing the strong worker. That's why the The cog is here. Communist, right? Well, workers of the world unite. That's the communist slogan. No. No. This is Germany, 1936. This is a German piece. This is National Socialism. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. I've seen communists. This is from communism. This is the worker. We've seen the artwork. See that artwork? We've seen the artwork in Moscow. Let me show you this. It's the worker, the farmer, and the worker. So what happened? I thought they had a lot in common. They did. And in the beginning, they put together a coalition. The National Socialists and the Communists, the International Communists in Europe and Russia were together. But at the time, Stalin was very, very clear. The focus was on the international worker. The National Socialists in Germany decided that they were going to be the German worker. We'd wrap people around the flag. Well, they worked together for a while. The communists said first brown, then red. They were cool with it. Until the fascists started to really gain power and you could see that they were starting to sweep the world. That's when the people who had early on united with them for revolution split apart, and then they united with anyone that would help them. The capitalists, they came to us in England. We'll work with you. Can you stop them? Because they knew they would put us out of business later. That was their idea. Well, let me tell you now that it's no longer a flag, because the Germans thought, no, we can get socialism if it's the flag. Now, the National Socialists are Islamic socialists. It's beyond a flag or a country. It's God. It's God. I believe this will take hold in the Middle East. And it will cause these people to cower. And they will run to somebody for help to stop Islamic socialism. The story is going to repeat itself. One of these sides is going to run to the other, but the worker is not as strong as God. Who are they going to run to stop it? Who is standing for 1791, our founding fathers' order? The rest of the world will have to find someone to stand against one of these two, whichever one is in the losing battle. They'll have to stand there. Make sure the world runs to you. Make sure you believe in something as deeply as they do.